Hmm. Yo. All right. So,
That's
yeah.
sorry. I'm
So,
watching the dog right now. He's feisty.
mm-hmm. All right. Let me know when you're back.
Nice.
Uh, yeah. And even the company logo is there. Zero. You know. So, yeah. And this is the one that I got my inspiration from, right? So it's also like inflatable, but a bit more animalistic. So I guess this one would work better outdoors. But yeah, mine is meant to be super cheap to produce and customizable. So essentially, you can like make the boobies different, right? So let's say you're small, right, or like this,
Yeah.
or like this, of course. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Mhm. Yeah, it's okay. So that's the robot, right? I'll tell you more about it later. So now this is the ship, if you can call it a ship. So it can fly, can submerge, and just go on water, right? So I don't know if there's even a name for something like this, but yeah, I think it's cool, right? So and cockpit opens like that, and there you have two seats. Um, by the way, since it's 3D printed, you can print it at any scale and then add the interiors, right? And to make a larger model fly, you just need a larger wingspan and a stronger actuators to like move the wings, right? Or just a larger engine or jet engine. So it's quite versatile. I would say it's an all-in-one, and it enables people all over the world to, in a cheap way, in the future at least, well, do anything really. You can even live at sea at that point. So, yeah, this solves a lot of issues people are having. Oh, there you are. Uh, so, yeah. And then the jetpacks, right? So, where are we on that? I mean, Kevin was still asking for some. Well, he has a parts list, right? That's his
Yes.
what he wants for Christmas.
So the cool news is that I am going to be moving from the West Coast here
Mm-hmm.
to actually team up with Kevin on building our Mark One.
Mark one. Oh, I like that. I like that. Yes, Mark one. Okay. All right. So Kevin
So,
has it all
so, so,
figured
so
out.
far,
So yeah.
so far, I've been scouting out a few surplus places. Boeing Surplus is a really nice shop,
Mm-hmm.
a nice shop in Washington. But we're trying to get our hands on as much hardware as we can to at
Mm-hmm.
least get a flyable prototype with a dummy in it. We're
Mm.
not gonna
I
we're
mean,
not
I got
looking
a
at her.
dummy for you if you like. I mean, it would look pretty cool too, and they're extra light, so it's ideal, right?
Huh. Okay, we were almost thinking a crash test dummy with sensors, but I mean, anything at this
It
point. We
has to
just
be
need to get
aesthetic.
something flyable.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
The one thing that Kevin wanted me to ask you though,
Yeah.
since you're in the Netherlands,
Uh-huh.
there is a jet engine manufacturer that is there,
Uh-huh.
in not far from you, and I was wondering if there was
Uh-huh.
any way that you could possibly reach out to them for us.
Send me the details. I'll do what I
Okay,
can.
yeah, I'll do that. I'll send you all the info on it.
Uh-huh.
Because the one thing that's hindering us right now on getting this build off the ground
Uh-huh.
is the engines. We just don't have the $20,000, more than that, $30,000 to throw down on
Yeah, trying to
turbines.
fix that, but it's okay. So doing everything I can, right? But
Yeah.
so these ships, I'm gonna put them up for about $1 million each, right?
Mhm.
I have one pre-order. It's actually a person that I even met on VR. Well, his name is Bitboy, but anyway, he's like some streamer or whatever. Let's see. And I have not. Well, I have put this one up for sale as an NFT, but I just let people bid on it. Nobody really saw it because I haven't advertised it yet there. And I'm also going to put the files so other people can like recreate them or just use them as an avatar in virtual worlds. I'm still not sure about the pricing on that. So I'm playing around with it, but a lot of people do like it, right? They think it's super nice. So that's why I also put up that poll, right? So initially I was going to put these up for 200K. That's way too much, right? I think
Sure.
just looking at
That was too
production
much.
costs, it could get really low. I think production costs for the robot alone might be below 1,000. That's my guess.
Below 1,000?
Yeah, because
Mm.
okay, so let me fill you in, right? So essentially,
So, so,
I'm
see, what's going through my mind are micro servos, muscle wire, lots of wiring,
yeah, that
microcontrollers.
yeah, that shouldn't be that
Yeah.
expensive, right? That's the biggest cost. There's um and yeah, the rest is just like inflatable or a harness, right? So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's doable with a pulley system, right? I first was thinking, you know what, I should make like modular magnets and whatever, but that's way too complex, right? Sure, you don't have moving
Mhm.
parts, but honestly, just being able to like service it yourself with like a pulley system, and you can like put in your own wires, right? And it's open source in a sense. People can just like right, yeah. You can't really protect anything, so you have to put it up open source. Honestly, that's probably the
Yeah.
safest way. And
Agreed.
also saves you development
I
costs
plan
on
on
the
open sourcing everything, including the jet suit build. Everything,
yeah,
all of it.
definitely. That's like we've seen that a monopoly on violence or whatever ability technological just gives
Yeah.
people incentive to like do evil shit because there's no competition, right? You need
Sure.
checks and balances. Okay, so this is basically a balancing system. So knowing that,
Like I'm trying to
I
set
should
my phone up.
probably put these up for free, but I put a lot of time and effort in this. Okay, I guess I'll just put a reasonable price on it so it's not too expensive for people who want to wear it. Actually, people wearing it is a free advert for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my company, the logo is on there. So I guess I'll just put it up for free. Yeah. Okay. That's settled. Saves a lot of headache too.
So
All right.
you're talking NFT purchases for a VR
Um,
only robot, right?
yeah. Well,
Okay.
so the VR one isn't even an NFT. I'm just gonna put it up on a market, on all of the markets pretty much. So that's
Okay.
one, but the real one is going to be priced below 25K. I think that's reasonable,
Okay.
right?
That is
Below,
reasonable. I was
yeah,
thinking between 25, anywhere between 25 to 30K is affordable for someone who's not filthy rich. You know.
yeah. Okay, but so the issue is I don't know the exact production costs, right? Let's say production costs are actually like 1,000, maybe
Mhm.
more, right? Let's say 2,000.
So
Then
for so for so for an actual autonomous, it really depends on what on how much realism you want. I mean,
yeah,
if,
that's true.
if the one avenue that I started looking into for actual muscular,
Mm-hmm.
muscular skeletal motion control
Yeah.
would be dude, muscle wire. Have you looked into muscle wire? Muscle wire is absolutely phenomenal Depending on the amount of current that muscle wire. So depending on the amount of current that you put through it, it will either expand or contract depending on the type of muscle wire that it is. MIT has been doing experiments with muscle wire, and you can actually build it out like strands of muscle fibers.
Oh my god!
And cause it to expand or contract depending on the amount of current.
That's exactly what I need. That's exactly it. That's it. Yeah.
And it's almost a solid state device at that point because there are no moving parts. It's just the muscle wires expanding or contracting.
Okay.
Hi. You're looking at the right thing.
Yeah, I want to buy it. Okay, I need to figure out how to get my hands on these.
I've got friends who've done robotics projects with muscle wire before, and they've actually been able to get articulation in digits.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that soon. I think that's the solution, right? Then it's like a simple package, honestly. Then it just comes down to wiring, and you're done. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So that makes things a lot easier. Then I can.
She looks a little crumpled there, buddy.
What? Oh yeah. It's when I cover my trackers. Yeah, don't worry about it.
That's funny.
But yeah, this version is also really nice. Like this would also work, right? But look, these wires are unnecessary at that point. I mean, I guess it's good for getting the heat around, pumping the heat around. But other than that, that's not even necessary because you can just heat up the gas itself. You know, that's like could be an internal system. Okay, but I think I got it now. So, knowing that, what is the price in general of muscle wire? Let's say I wanna, what is your, what's the ballpark? Is it?
I don't have my laptop in front of me. Sorry, man.
Oh wait a second. This site has them. Oh my God, it's cheap. Are you kidding me?
Well, it is cheap, but the thing is it would require a lot.
A lot, indeed.
A lot of muscle wire. Spools and spools of it.
Oh my God, this is why Elon is like getting those nickel things. Oh my God, this is his master plan. They're probably doing the same thing.
I can't say.
Fuck. Yeah.
He's working on a similar concept. So most of the muscle wire that's available online for general purchase is science experiment quality. It's not really engineering or build quality. We can go through some of the main. So these are just end products for small science experiments. But we can actually go directly to the manufacturers and get muscle wire at any configuration that you want.
Perfect. Let's do that. Okay, so you scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? So I'll reach out to those people in the Netherlands, and you'll try to see how we can get high quality muscle fibers.
I will dig up as much information on getting high quality muscle wires.
Muscle wires, sorry. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Okay.
It's pretty cool. I mean, there's some of the robotics projects that I've seen with muscle wire pretty phenomenal. I watched a walking insect robot. It was using muscle wire for the legs.
Yeah. So, oh my God, that's also that actually is a missing ingredient. I've been thinking about this for a long time. So these wings, I was talking to some SpaceX lead engineer about this, right? So to validate the design. So essentially, they're gonna flap. So they're gonna flap like this, right? And I've looked basically the muscles in a what's it called again? A dragonfly.
Yeah.
They move in a specific way. Let me just consult. There we go.
So, see, my idea behind muscle wire was to do multi-stranded bundles of muscle wire.
Yeah.
Almost like muscles. I mean, and you've got
It is
automatically you have built-in redundancy, because what happens when we rip a muscle? Well, the muscle keeps working. It's just part of it is damaged.
Yeah, exactly. You can measure how much is damaged, so you can also know when and how much to replace. That's perfect. And the performance just slowly decreases, so it's like manageable. And
we already have the technology to detect breaks in wires down to down to the millimeter.
Perfect. Okay, so let's see. I would say I'm gonna do it simple. So, simple as in replacing the wire. Like, I prefer not to have people having to dig into it, but let's see.
Yeah.
What's the best way to do it? Servicing is also expensive. Okay. I would say it's better to have the muscle wire accessible under these white parts. Wait, let me just get a better pose out of it. So, you see? So, the exoskeleton, in a sense, right? You can hide muscle wire here in all of these places. Okay, and then to replace it, you just lift it up, etc. Okay. So I was also talking to a partner that can make realistic skin. Like, this guy probably makes the best realistic skin in the world. He's from the UK, and yeah, he liked what I showed him, right? So, okay, I can approach him, especially for the mass manufacturing part. But so this is just version 1, right? Version 1 is just like less than nude, kinda.
Sure.
But version 2 probably has actual skin, right? So it should be indistinguishable. So this is more for the cases where it should be obvious it's a robot, and for the cases where it shouldn't be, like when you actually want to replace a person. Let's say an elderly care home, right? They don't like it when a different person suddenly arrives. They have to it's confusing. So maybe in those cases, you could have the same person care for them, so their memory is less text.
Sure.
Okay, who knows, right? So I just want my lover. I mean, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. I think we got it. Okay, let's move on, right? So, yeah, I'm on track for Christmas. Okay, so I guess I could show you some other stuff. So, I've been working on stuff in the metaverse, etc. And let me just go to this world. This one.
I'm a little jealous. I wish my Oculus Rift was working.
Oh yeah, this is the stuff. Like, the metaverse is so good. Like, the last 2 years, it's like time travels different here. It's weird, but basically people live at hyperspeed because you can just jump from one place to the other, right? No travel time. So that does a lot for personal relationships and growth. So it's already decorated for Christmas, right? Nice Christmas tree.
What?
And
what metaverse are you in?
VR chat.
Oh, no kidding.
So I wanted to buy this entire world, for about $800, but the creator is not really responding, even though he said he wanted to sell it, right? But anyway, it's not that complex, so I could have it recreated. Essentially, underwater habitats. So these boats of mine, right? They can be autonomous, and since they also can submerge, that means they can place stuff in desired locations. Yeah, that's that's an older mock-up. Okay, so there's room at the back, right, to carry stuff, and you can basically drag large infrastructure down to sea, right? These large containers, even you just drag them down, and just stack them, right? And they can even float in the ocean at a specific location, and you need very little to keep them in place because of their weight at that point. So yeah, you can basically 3D stack an entire, well, 4D, I guess, because it's like you can start from the center. I mean, let's see. Let me just get the mirror. There you go. And I'll go into something less revealing because, well, reasons, right? Let's see.
Right. She's got nice boobies. I mean, she really does.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's for the same reason. All my friends that are gamers, oh God, for the last 15 years, most of my friends liked to play female avatars because they just wanted to watch butt cheeks running in front of them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot to tell you this part. So this is the big thing, right? So Facebook is building the metaverse in the wrong place, which is why I'm not worried about them.
What are they doing?
They're building it in just in VR, right? And it's like stick figures and dumb things, pretty much. It's people don't even have legs there, right? So imagine like that having legs, and how do you communicate in the same way? So I mean, VR chat is probably the metaverse right now, at least, to me. And besides that, these suits are inflatable, right? And the okay, so these muscle um, wire. Wait. Okay, so that muscle wire, right? That's on the outside, right? So under the white stuff here, which means you can also go in it, right? And then you'd have an exoskeleton. That's one. 2, you can look like anything. 3, you're corona proof. 4, you're pretty cute. Let's see, I could go on, but I think it has a lot of benefits on top of climate control, right? So the reason I want to make these at least 20K is because I can get a good deal for the Tesla suits, right? So I contacted them, had a good talk, and that guy liked what he saw, right? So apparently they only have 30 suits. They don't make a lot, but these suits have everything, right? So they have 80 haptic sensors, right?
Yeah.
Or you can basically feel every touch, right? From soft stroke to like a hard punch, right? They're really strong. On top of that, they have they can shock you at specific places. In a sense, it's like muscle stimulation, right? So it could feel like a shock, but when it's not turned to the max, or like 25% even, then you can basically move a muscle. Yeah, so basically it can guide you into like doing certain movements, right? So it's ideal to learn a new skill like Kung Fu, right? But besides that, right, people wearing the robo suit.
Do you have a full body haptic feedback?
No, I don't. But I want to get the Tesla suit, right? I'm gonna get one for myself too, because it's basically the perfect suit even if you're not playing VR. It has heating, cooling all over your body, right? So that's a lot cheaper than cooling your entire house or the entire area, especially if you live in a large open space. So, and it can sense your sweat and such, right? So essentially it has every piece of data from your body, which is valuable, right? You don't want Facebook to have that data, so that's already a no-go, right? Having Facebook involved with that data. So, but for these robots, like let's say you first put on your Tesla suit and then you go into the robot, right? The Tesla suit already has full body tracking, has all of the sensors. So all we need to put in the robot, right, are the actuators, right? So the wires, etc. So once someone is in it and they do a task, right, maybe even a virtual task, they feel everything. That's one.
Yeah.
2, it's perfect data because the robot is it's gonna be doing the same thing in the same position, and it can basically learn from that action, and then you can automate every task forever, right? So that's what Suro stands for. Sustainable
Okay.
routines.
Have you ever seen the movie? Have you ever seen the movie Surrogates?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you send your robot out, you get in the suit, and you're basically You
Yeah,
are the
yeah,
robot.
yeah, yeah. You don't even have to go out at that point, right? So it's your avatar, and it can look like anything. So you're
Hmm.
gonna see a lot more of those. And I mean, I like anime, right? And I think it's a good market to start with in my case because one, the community interested in that would love this. It like usually people are pretty conservative, right? Especially with robots, and the robots that I've seen, especially that Amika. I even bought the NFT, by the way, and I'm putting it up for sale for like 1,000 Ethereum. $4 million. Who knows? Maybe if this blows up, people will buy it up. But I'm like, this is the first video, right, of this robot waking up, and it has a
Yeah.
human looking face, right? So by doing that, I got good relations with their team, right, which is good for as a competitor, and I got a piece of history. So yeah, basically, I think this might make me a billionaire. Just this one thing alone, right? Because
Maybe.
it solves most problems, and if you can mass produce them, yeah, I mean, people can finally come back together, and besides that, they don't get discriminated for who they are or where they're coming from, right?
True.
It's just your personality at that point. And if you're in a suit, you can basically sound like anything you want. And that emotion recognition system is also good for this, right? The robot can sense your emotion and like act upon it. So that's probably a safe play.
How much do you think the average price of a Tesla suit is?
It's 10K. But if I
Okay.
order them before the end of the year, I get 20% off. So that's why I want to get the Christmas sale up and running as soon as possible,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And if things go well, I'll order all of them, honestly. Like these
Hmm.
things are so useful, right, for a lot of appliances that I need them. So yeah, that's the thing. And of course, first I'm gonna like pay you guys for the jetpack because yeah, jetpacks. And on top of that, imagine this robot with a jetpack.
Oh, jeez.
All the delivery options for racing too. Like I think it might even be safer to have robots do it. Honestly, like I
Sure.
don't want Kevin
Sure.
to like die in some random crash or whatever. No, having robots do it means we can have more exciting sports that still work because of like our new tech, which is VR, and like having a surrogate. So it's also
True.
safer for testing and for everything, really.
Man, imagine being able to put on a Tesla suit, start up your robot, have your robot walk to an
Oh,
F1 car, get
oh
in, and
my
drive around.
god! Oh my god! That would open up so many avenues.
Piloting, racing, all of it.
Yeah, like you don't need AI anymore. You just need internet. That's it. And well, you get AI as a byproduct because of the data you collect, right? So
Yeah.
essentially, even for cars, like I mean, we're gonna beat Elon at his own game. We're gonna have these robots be the autopilot, right? And people can just rent a robot, and it just comes up, drives their own car to
Yep.
wherever and parks it, and then comes back to pick them up, or anything really. You can do groceries, right? So even if you don't own one, you can just rent one, and yeah, there's so
Has
many
there
avenues. So yeah,
has there been any news at all lately on the Tesla bot, on
no,
the rumor?
no,
I didn't think so.
no, like look, it's not there. Like I was recently watching some interview of Elon, and basically he like was bashing Biden, of course, right? Which is
Oh yeah.
understandable on the new infrastructure bill,
The
but
current administration does not like SpaceX or Elon.
yeah, yeah, and Elon is like, you know what? Just remove all subsidies. We don't need them. Well, they're not even getting them anymore. But I don't think he is allowed to like say that because it's bad for his competitors, even though
Yeah.
he benefited a lot from it, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they're in a worse position, but I think we need all of them to win. We need electric cars to take off. Like there's no other way, right? Well, maybe
Sure.
hybrid or hydrogen, but still, at least electric right now is a good step but making them sustainably is probably a better thing. But anyway, so
Hydrogen.
yeah.
I don't understand why the BS electric cars are on the market anyhow, because of the fact that I was working for a hydrogen fuel cell research and development company back
Nice.
in 2000. Okay.
What the fuck? Oh yeah, yeah.
Back in
Okay, I think.
2000, I worked hydrogen electric for a company called A New View Incorporated, and we were building PEM fuel cells, proton exchange membrane, hydrogen oxygen fuel cells.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I was actually part of the project to take a Subaru station wagon. We gutted it, did an electric drivetrain because that's what I did at the time. I worked for an electric conversions company. So I got hired on from an electric conversions company to this fuel cell research and development company as their electric vehicle their fleet test technician, fleet technician. And we built a Subaru station wagon with a hydrogen tank and an oxygen tank rear, with a 5 kW fuel cell stack in the center, in the rear of this thing, and we drove it. You can find it if you look hard enough on the internet, but this was 20 years ago, for God's sakes. We drove that all the way down to Los Angeles from Sacramento, from right by Davis at the Fuel Cell Consortium in Davis. We fueled right there at their hydrogen refueling station right outside of Davis, and we drove that all the way to Los Angeles and all the way back up to Sacramento on one charge of fuel. It was approximately $30 worth of gases. Why the hell are we not doing that right now?
Yeah, I was actually looking into it too for the ship, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, like in those cars that go like 500 miles or kilometers, I don't know. They just have this one small hydrogen tank, right? It's just one small tank. Like, come on, like they were trying to do the whole
The reformers are easy to build. I mean, this is now 50-year-old technology.
Yeah.
And no one seems to be implementing it. It's actually kind of irritating me. I'd rather develop an all hydrogen fuel cell electric car than what they're doing.
Yeah. Let's see.
And the battery costs, all of it. I mean, it's absolutely insane how much.
What I heard was that the oil companies bought up most of the patents, and that was the main reason for it not.
Back in 2000, right before September 11th happened, the Bush administration had actually cut our environmental technology funding. This is while I was going to college, and we went from 200 employees at A New View in Europe and the U.S. We went from 200 employees down to 6, and I was one of the 6 employees.
And suddenly we have oil wars. Hey, isn't this getting a bit too real?
I can. The oil company, the major oil companies. Bush made all his money off the oil companies back then, so he wanted to cut all the environmental technology funding out, and that actually completely destroyed us. That was actually supposed to be my up and coming moment as an engineer.
Dude,
when I was in my,
you would have been the next Elon Musk / Steve Jobs way before them even. Well, like, what the fuck?
When I met that back then is when I met Elon. 20 years ago.
You met him? What the fuck?
No, I ran into him twice. Once outside of Sacramento at the Fuel Cell Consortium in Davis, where Toyota. I was actually getting ready to work for Toyota, but long story. I fucked up my interview because I showed up with a hangover, and the manager that flew in from Japan.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I screwed that off.
You'll get your redemption arc.
No, I ran into Elon twice. I ran into him in freaking San Diego too. At a big event. They happened to have one of those little red cars parked out in the parking lot, showing it off. I stood and shot the shit with him.
Oh, I think I've seen that video. You were there. That's kind of funny.
I had no idea who I was talking to. It was just another electric vehicle guy. I was geeking out over his motor controllers and crap, because the meticulous wiring job that was done. The back of that car was open, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that's beautiful, flawless."
Really?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
That was why I liked the guy, because they took pride in meticulous work, and it was
Mm.
just it was just a Lotus. It wasn't anything special. It was an off the
Mm-hmm.
shelf Lotus chassis that he started purchasing without drivetrains in order to convert them to
Mm.
the original Tesla Roadster. All it is a Lotus chassis with their own custom drivetrain.
Oh my god, I still feel ripped off for like the Roadster 2.0. Like I was really waiting for it, you know. Uh, oh my god. Anyway, so we don't need them, right? We don't need them. So,
No.
uh, let's do this. Like I really feel like we're gonna make it somehow. Like we have so many things that can just explode. Not literally, of course, but
Yeah. Well,
uh,
maybe.
okay. Speaking of explode, I was also thinking a couple days ago about how to make a fusion reactor, right? I mean, but efficiently. So, um,
The most efficient design of a fusion reactor is pretty much a tokamak. I mean,
yeah. So that's the mainstream thing now at Tokamak. But I thought, you know what? Why not just make it like a ball, right? And at that point, why not just create the extreme pressures needed with an
mhm.
explosion, right? I mean, that's then you
Yeah,
already have the fusion reaction started instantly, right? Um, and it's like a battery, right? And it will just stay like that if you can
so
contain it.
you're talking a plasma explosion.
Um, well, yeah, exactly. It needs to make all of the contents ionized and like high pressured. So, I don't even know how you trigger a plasma explosion. Care to fill me in?
Um, there's a lot of science and math behind that I can't just spit out right now. I'd have to be
Okay,
looking at it.
but like,
But
what do I what do I pour in, and like, what do I do? So
well, a correct plasma explosion would have to be contained within a magnetic field,
mm-hmm.
and you use extremely high voltage to pop it off.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but that's the current method, right? They use lasers, etc.
yeah,
But
exactly. The current method is an electrical ignition, is what it is.
yeah, but they're out of chemical energy. You can actually get a lot of energy, right?
Yes, true,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I think that's an easier way, like to make it mainstream usable. And essentially, I think, well, think it just seems so
Wait,
straightforward
oh
that
my
it's like
brain!
lighting a match.
Wait,
Oh,
my brain. Hold on a
oh, you're
second.
getting something? Okay.
Um, yeah. Honestly, I think. Okay, so one of the highest output electrical systems I've ever seen, um, for portable purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I did back in my 20s. Man, I never really I had my highlights in my 20s.
But
So
you're right
I
about
worked
the
for
high voltage. Yeah, go on.
yep, I worked for a contractor in my 20s. I was working on McClellan Air Force Base, and I can talk about it now because it's not top secret. But we were actually partnered up with Siemens engineers,
Mm-hmm.
and they came from Germany and Italy to help us work on two city buses, and both of those city buses were actually for the city of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
No one knew, all hush hush, super quiet. But each of these city buses, the only reason I was on this project is that I was an electronics nerd in my 20s, and I volunteered to build the wiring harnesses for these things. Oh my God, that was a bad idea. It was so much work. Um, but I learned a lot, and each of these city buses had 4 molten carbonate fuel cells on board.
Mm-hmm.
molten carbonate fuel cells get extremely hot, and it is a chemical process, chemical reaction.
Oh.
And those things were putting out, like, I think per stack, there were 4 stacks on the bus. I think each stack was putting out 15 kW. That's a lot of freaking power. And they tested those in LA. I guess they just never caught on. I didn't hear anything about
Okay.
how they work.
Yeah, so I don't think I should play around with that on my own, right? Right now, at least. But I would say there's definitely a lot of potential in the future, and let's just focus on getting this right. Yeah, and the
Molten carbonate
jetpacks.
fuel cells are pretty good, and they will burn you. I mean, the enclosures heat up on them.
Yeah, exactly. So you need magnets to contain that heat, etc. Well, heats. Do magnets contain heat?
Magnets?
Yeah, I mean, in a tokamak, for example, like that plasma, it's extremely hot. But what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still radiation in a sense. So I guess, but that's still tricky. I might have to look into that later.
There's a reactor that I've been kind of interested in, and I'd actually like to do some more research into it. China actually started developing that internally is hotter than our sun.
Yeah, 100 million plus degrees, right?
Yes, correct. And I believe they're building one in Africa.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! That's crazy. And
yep, and I've seen the inside of this thing. They're nuts. Like, the whole inside of the reactor looks like it's covered in mirrors. It's crazy looking. But why not? China steals from us all the time. Why not steal some of their ideas and make a smaller version?
I agree. And mirrors, that is the answer.
They're only thinking about building on a large scale for cities and large power sources.
Yeah.
They haven't built a small version of this.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you have a small version, you can just mass produce those. I mean, if you put them all together, you still have the same effect. Probably better because you don't have the losses from sending all of that power over the grid. So yeah, it's still better, and it's also easier to replace the current grid with it because you just go to a local station and like upgrade that part, right? Or well, it depends.
So my question though is, why can't we? And I've had this conversation with other people in the past. Why can't we power this with a PEM fuel cell source?
Let me look into that. Is that the same thing as the bus was using?
No, proton exchange membrane fuel cell. And these are what I was hand making. I can hand build one of these.
What the fuck? Oh my god, you have to fill me in. So how do they work? Let's see.
There you go.
There's that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. Okay. It's like a battery.
You don't even need oxygen. What you need, because you don't need an oxygen tank. You can use a medical grade oxygen reformer that actually just pulls the oxygen out of the air. What the hell is it called? I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm too tired. But yeah, it's an oxygen reformer. It just pulls the oxygen right out of the air and then pumps it into its own tank. You don't have to get a fill up on oxygen. The only thing you would have to get a tank filled up with would be hydrogen. And hydrogen reformers are damn near off the shelf available right
now. Okay, so let's just assume that but do you think this could make a fusion reactor or some other type of power source?
Well, the proton exchange membrane fuel cell is a power source.
Okay, that's true. So it's still using hydrogen.
Reactor.
Yeah.
Just using.
Yeah, so that was my initial plan to power the ship, actually, hydrogen, right? Just pure hydrogen and like one of those fuel cells. And the thing is, like,
it's the most abundant gas we have.
Yeah.
All around it.
So essentially, that enables you to carry as much fuel as needed. Really, at least you can fly so far that you just replace the tanks, right?
Mhm.
There you go, and maybe even have them replace themselves, right? Like, I mean, they can move on their own, honestly, if they. So you can even embed them in the tanks. Hmm, okay, that's probably a better fuel source. My only issue is like the hydrogen tanks, right? So you don't want those to explode. They're like a liability if someone is like, "Hey, let me shoot this thing," and it
No,
hits
no,
a.
no.
Hmm?
So as long as you have what's called an evacuation purge valve,
Yeah.
or a dump valve. So upon impact, this is something we had to actually design for the car that we were working on. We
Mm-hmm.
built our own hydrogen tanks. We wrapped all the carbon
Mm-hmm.
fiber ourselves, and we built a purge valve on the end of the tank that
Mm-hmm.
upon impact, once the sensors could sense an impact on the tank,
Mm-hmm.
it blows the purge valve and instantly turns into water vapor.
Whoa.
That's it. No kaboom. Because everyone's the second we were telling people we were building a hydrogen fucking hydrogen fuel cell powered electric vehicle, the very first thing people started talking about and laughing about was, oh great, now we're just gonna look around the horizon and see mushroom cloud, mushroom cloud, mushroom cloud. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it takes a lot of extreme pressure and force to make hydrogen turn into an explosion, which is the hydrogen bomb. But if you immediately evacuate the hydrogen, we tested this in the workshop. You immediately
Mm-hmm.
evacuate the hydrogen, and once it's instantly dissipated, it just turns into mist. You just get water
Oh.
vapor in the air. That's it.
Okay.
No explosion, no boom, no smell, nothing.
And the funny thing is, like, creating mist could also be of use as a defensive measure, right? Let's say you get attacked, right, by a couple F-22 Raptors. One, this device is actually super nimble, like way more nimble than an F-22, in my opinion. On top of that, you can, um, yeah, go on.
No question. So I'm all about proof of concept. Okay.
Yeah.
You are an amazing designer, an amazing programmer. I'm a hardware concept engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get me detailed drawings of your ideas, as soon as I get relocated back out to the East Coast, because there's just a lot more resources out there. Aerospace engineering is way more prevalent out there than it is out here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just tired of the expense. I
Yep.
don't know. There's a weird U.S. West Coast idiocy that happens out here. It's almost like they become lazy and complacent on the West
Pretty
Coast as far
much,
as
yeah.
you talk to engineers on the East Coast, and they are
More hungry,
a
I
lot more
guess.
staunch. They're a lot more staunch about their work and what they do, and a lot more serious about it than West Coasters for some reason. West Coasters are all about having fun. But the East Coast, they're like, no, they're almost German about how they do everything. It's got to be done the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So once I get settled over there and start working with Kevin on our build, because it has to happen. If I don't do this, dude, it's not going to happen. Once we're there and we've got the workshop set up at Kevin's place, I'm bringing all my resources with me. I've got 3 3D printers left. I'll buy some more when I get out there. And I can actually 3D print scale model prototypes for things.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to turn this into a scale drone.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect. That would be so good. Yeah. Like I also have a 3D printer, so I was gonna print it too. But let's just both do it. I'm gonna see how the wire, the what's it called,
Because
muscle wire
remember,
works.
I build drones, dude. I
Oh,
founded Secure Drones.
okay. Yeah. So I actually realized something too, right? So for the robot, actually
Yeah.
the insides, so the stuff that like moves the wires could literally just be off the shelf parts from a drone, because all of this
Yeah.
is just turning a spool, right? And these are very precise, fast. So I think it would actually have a longer battery life than your average drone flying. That is one.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple
Mm-hmm.
hours, just move time, right?
Yep.
And on top of that, I mean, like since it's so light, I could even make it fly just with a halo, right? So you could just add a fan in here. So here, this thing, right? Essentially, it could just fly like a drone because it just diverts power to these areas, right? So right now it does spin, right? But it just shows a hologram. There's just like one small screen, and once it like rotates fast, it just looks like a hologram. But if you just make that your propeller, it would just fly straight up, and it's light. It's inflatable. So I think just taking all of these parts into account, it would not weigh more than your average drone, honestly, like a high-powered drone. So it could fly. It could just hop to like the second floor easily, probably more, right? And deliver food and then jump out like a superhero. So, I mean, I think that's more aesthetic than just having someone knock on your door, and like bike all the way. No, you just go a direct route, right? No issues. I mean, like, okay, I'm gonna stop doubting myself. Like, I'm just gonna put this up there, and see which crazy person wants it, and then make them happy, right? And then deal with the fallout, as in people complaining that men aren't interested in women anymore, or whatever, right? That's probably gonna happen. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Okay, so scale model, genius idea. For this, well, I'm just gonna work on
I
the.
mean, technically, we could make a scale model of an autonomous robot. It doesn't need to be more than 2 feet tall for the first version.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably even better for safety reasons.
We're just talking about wasting additional money and resources on expensive parts. But we can just build something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's the best route. So
and work the bugs out of it.
Yep.
Make it dance on our tabletop. I mean, hey,
Oh
look
my
at
god!
that.
Like, no, but really, like, imagine if you literally have a small walking robot. Like, what could that do? Like a small, you could be Ant-Man, right? Yeah.
I think you're right. Actually, no one else is thinking on a small scale.
Yeah. Like, what could you, like, for working on delicate stuff? That's ideal, right? Even surgeries, you could literally stick this man in there, and someone just is.
I'm an IT guy, right? And I do remote IT work all the time, right? Could you imagine sending someone a box in the mail and be like, here, just open it up, set it on the counter,
you can mill it.
And then I will just remote guide it. And then you turn it on and it lifts its little head. It walks over, gets on the keyboard, plugs into the network, whatever. It logs into the wireless because it has built-in wireless. Yeah. And then it can actually go. It can actually physically go from room to room for you.
Oh my god! What could it do?
Why not?
Like, okay, so let's see.
You know what? Fuck it. Brian, let's build a mini automaton.
I think a mini one is even better because one, it saves us material costs. Two, there's probably a use for it. Honestly, like it could probably do everything, and it's portable. You can just stick it in your anywhere really.
Yeah.
Saves me a lot too in prototyping.
Huh?
All right. And it's safer.
I mean,
honestly,
I've done a lot of weird random robotics projects, man. I mean, I don't see why.
Yeah, starting small is usually better. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So small.
I mean, that's how we. When I was working with Ziva Aero, that's how we started off. Before building the big fucking drone that you could actually get in and fly, I don't think they have it. I don't think they have it.
They can get out all the kinks. Like you don't want to be at the scale.
I can send you videos and pictures of us building when we built the scale model. And I actually just built a drone and built it in the same frame size and engineering design that for the full size model. And we flew it in front of investors, man. That's how we got the funding to start building the big one.
Fuck, nice. Okay, good. Let's see. I'm gonna join you. Maybe I'll get some more good ideas too. Just a moment. Let's see. Oh my god, like weed basically is like the miracle for like these ideas for some reason. Like for some people, it makes them dumber, right? But in my case, I just get way smarter. I think it's because I have a lot of deep knowledge, and that gets connected. in
Yeah.
ways that work out. Let's see. Ah, there it is.
I just wish I was still as smart as I was in my 20s.
You were smarter. You were even smarter.
Yeah, I think I was smarter when I was in my 20s.
I
Well, it's
mean,
because I was always, dude. I was always on. I was always going. I was always going to college. I never graduated, but I was going to like every
uh,
college. Get a hold of. I
honestly,
went to Sacramento. I went to Sacramento State University for a year, and I wasn't actually a student there, dude. I sat in
no,
all the
no.
lectures and shit, and just went to the library and hung out on campus all the time.
Yeah, I think that's just a lie, that they like try to make everybody think only the smart people go to have all smart people have gone to college and been in this whole like well molds,
the
right? That they
reason,
put people in.
the,
That's not
so the
true.
reason the
Hmm.
reason I was going to college, the reason I went to Sacramento State University, the reason I was hanging out at San Diego State University, the reason I went to all these different universities and just hung out, for one, it's a public place, the university. So I got to
Hmm.
use the library. I got to use the facilities. I went and had lunch. I went and sat in on lectures with instructors. I made friends with instructors who invited me over to their houses to have barbecues and
Hmm.
taught me even more at their home over a barbecue and some drinks than when I was
Hmm.
listening, when I was learning in class. And I wasn't going to school for
Yeah,
that stupid ass piece of paper. I was going to school for the knowledge and to make friends with all these brilliant eggheads that were 160 plus IQs.
yeah, that's what it's
That's
about.
the only reason I was there.
That's what you're getting out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, don't worry though. Like, that's already solved. Like, I already know what the new world is like, and basically, it's people doing whatever they feel like. Honestly, like that's probably the best way that we're gonna approach this, and everybody can do whatever they do from a distance. People who normally do physical jobs can automate their job this way, right? They can work from home too. Everybody could
Mm-hmm.
work from home, technically, right? If that's mandated, and it's possible. I mean, like, why not, right? And
Well, the only reason I went off on that side tangent about a 2 foot helper bot,
mm-hmm,
if we built a small bot,
mm-hmm,
um, and I went off on that tangent about being able to use it for remote help and stuff like that, because I had actually ran this idea and this scenario around in the past with just general robotics, building a freaking robot that doesn't look like a person. You know what I mean? That you can just mail to a client, and it can go. It shows up to their location, and you can work on things on their network that way. A small autonomous unit with wheels or whatever. I mean,
so I actually think we
it's pretty
forgot
high action.
something. Like we've really
Energy.
forgot that small things make up large things, right? So let's say you have an army of these small things. You can mass produce them, right? One,
Yeah.
and sell them as toys. That's probably the biggest market at first. Two, they can probably just like connect with each other, just like, and then just sit in any large outer shell and be that
Mm-hmm.
being, So essentially, it's like mini people just being here, and then it becomes way more nimble. Even the fingers become a lot easier. It's just gonna be legs, right? Their
Yeah.
legs and whatever. So
My
that,
battery.
yeah, don't worry. Uh, okay, I'll wait a bit. Hmm. Oh. Okay, so he's not coming. We're gonna have this meeting another time, but essentially, we're gonna scale it down to scale it up. Oh,